We've heard kind of a lot about how seriously you've taken mask wearing, just enforcing that. Why did you sort of take that upon yourself to be that guy in the locker room?
I guess it's a combination of being the rep, that Wood's gone, and going through all of the phone calls and the discussions of what we needed to do as a group of players to keep a season going. Because that was our biggest goal, was to start the season and finish the season. We don't want any interruptions like that. And, there's an element of self-responsibility and accountability that we all need to hold each other to accomplish that goal to finish the season.
And I'm just curious if you gave any consideration to opting out. I know you had that sort of mysterious illness last year. Did you give any consideration to opting out?
Yeah, we definitely had conversations. I don't think it would be very smart to not at least talk about it, especially when you have a wife and kids and, some high risk relatives. For me, it was more of keeping those around me healthy. And so that was really the discussion. It wasn't so much of me being concerned about, what happened back in 2018, and if that would have made me high risk or anything.
Jim Wyatt.
And Dennis, just kind of following up on Eric, have guys had, it's a serious business, obviously, and you're keeping guys in check, but are they giving you a little grief? Are they having a little fun with you as you kind of have set some of them straight?
Yeah, obviously, it is training camp still, so we do have to try and find ways to have some fun. So, guys will kind of give me a look if they see me walking around and make sure the mask is up. And, guys are having fun with it, but it is still important that, it's fresh and it's important on our minds right now because it's, been 2 weeks or so. We need to keep this up all the way throughout the fall into the winter, hopefully in 21 if nothing's figured out.
And one more from me. What's kind of your mindset? I know you've been proven to be a good teammate since you've been here, and you've got a guy that came in that plays your position that was drafted in the first round. You want to win the job at the same time. You want to be a good teammate and help Isaiah. What's that balance like for you as you compete for that starting spot that you want?
Right. No, it is, there is a little bit of a challenge just because, like you said, there's those two things in itself kind of conflict each other. But, I'm under the understanding that I can only control what I can control. I'm not going to push him away or anything like that. If he has questions, I'm going to talk to him about it. That's something I learned when I was younger. Older guys in Philly helped me learn, helped me different techniques, different tips. And so I think it would just be, just terrible if I didn't at least help them. But at the same time, I am working on myself to be better and hopefully be that guy.
Luke?
Dennis, several of your teammates on offense have praised Ryan for his vocal leadership and being willing to stand up for what he thinks needs to happen. What are some ways where maybe you see that manifest? Where in particular does that stand out the most? What I'm seeing right now is definitely his control of the huddle. During the walkthroughs, during these practices that we've had these last couple of days. This constant just reminder and vocalizing the importance of certain player, what we need to do or where we need to be, and just holding everyone accountable to make sure that everyone's locked in and focused on when we're working.
John Glennon.
Hey, Dennis. One thing I wanted to follow on was that when you talked about the high risk earlier, I remember last year I wrote the story about the allergy situation and your daughter. And is that a situation where she is at higher risk, during this time? Is that an autoimmune kind of situation?
So from our understanding, that doesn't put her at high risk. Originally there was talks that asthma was a potential high risk, and I think I saw that wasn't actually fully true, but she doesn't have asthma. So It was more of having the newborn early on, and then the element of I have my mother-in-law and my mom are probably both high risk, and so there's an element of that next level of family of keeping people safe.
Gotcha. And one more football question. You touched on Isaiah earlier, but I wonder what some of your impressions have been of the big guy so far. I know you've only seen him on the field for a day or two, but just overall impressions, maybe him as a person and as a player.
Yeah, finally got to meet him after all this time with the Zoom meetings and everything like that. Guy that really seems to fit in well with this group. Has a good sense of himself, and has done a really good job of kind of hitting the ground running with our group. And so that's what we got.
David Beauclair.
Dennis, last time we did one of these with you, we were talking about you being the starting right tackle, and then a few weeks later they did draft Isaiah, and the GM says you two are going to battle it out. What was your initial reaction to that pick, and how has your sort of attitude changed, if at all, over time?
I think it's just been one of those things where I knew going into this free agency back in the spring, and then ending up signing that I was still going to have to earn it and still work for it. So I just approached it to, when I signed, I was the starter, and so I've always prepared to be a starter, and so now I have a real shot at it, and so hopefully it all plays out.
Paul Kaharski.
Hey, Dennis. Wanted to ask about Lawan, who's talked about wanting to be more of a leader, and his leadership's been a conversation for a long time. With the front row seat, what kind of indications have you seen from him about taking a different approach?
It's definitely, we mentioned it earlier about being vocal. He's definitely, I feel he's always kind of been a lead by example kind of guy. But you can tell he's making an effort to be that vocal reminder, be that vocal leader for the offensive line to, like I've mentioned it with Ryan, to be locked in, to make sure that we, excel in if it's an individual period, or if it's a walkthrough, or if it's a team period, just ways for us to continue to get better and to try and dominate every situation we're in.
Last one, John Glennon.
Yeah, Dennis, just wonder if you could talk about the man lining up next to you there, Nate Davis, and impressions of what he is like starting off this year as opposed to the player that maybe got into the lineup for the first time last year.
Sure, you could definitely, there's more confidence, obviously, more time in the offense. And he's brought a really good attitude of trying to get better every day, both physically and mentally, with understanding the offense, and then knowing the kind of the nuances and picking up, tips and hints here and there. So I think he's done a great job so far.
All right, those are all the questions. Appreciate your time, Dennis.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Appreciate it, Dennis.